Hey everyone, Chris here. Okay, so we're going to start with a Twitter exchange, and it goes Jeremy Crawford, Magic Missile, do you roll the same d4 for all darts or 1d4 per dart? And his reply was Magic Missile, rules as written, you roll 1 damage die. So this sets up an optimization trick that is unique, and in this video I'll explain how it works, why Jeremy Crawford gave this answer, and how you can determine which interactions work to optimize this spell and which don't. So, to start with, even without optimization tricks, Magic Missile is a pretty solid spell. It's first level, 120 foot range. You create 3 magic darts and send them to hit targets of your choice within range, and you can have all 3 hit the same target, or you can split them up however you like, with each dart doing a d4 plus 1 force damage, no attack roll, no saving throw, and all the darts hit simultaneously. If you cast Magic Missile with a higher level spell slot, you get 1 more dart for each spell slot level. Now, the damage isn't great, but it's not terrible, and it's flexible, and it's a reliable damage type, and your casting ability score is irrelevant. You can cast a spell with a 20 casting ability or an 8, and you get the exact same result. So you don't need to worry about your casting stat, and Magic Missile isn't a bad option for your spell list. But let's talk about the trick. So intuitively, when I read this spell, I would assume if I hit a creature with 1 dart, it would take a d4 plus 1 force damage, and if I hit it with 2, it would be 2d4 plus 2, and if I hit it with 3, it would be 3d4 plus 3. But that is not what the rules say. So in this famous, or infamous, Twitter exchange, you decide Jeremy Crawford is asked if you roll the same d4 for all darts or 1d4 per dart, and Jeremy Crawford says that rules as written, you roll 1 damage die, and he tells us where we can find the rule. Damage rolls in the Player's Handbook, page 196. So this is the rule that he's referencing. Damage rolls. If a spell or other effect deals damage to more than 1 target at the same time, roll the damage once for all of them. So, does Magic Missile do damage to more than 1 target? Well, it can. Does it do the damage at the same time? Yes. The spell description says they strike simultaneously. Now, if you hit the same target with all 3 darts, then it's not doing damage to more than 1 target, but that doesn't matter, because lots of spells can do damage to multiple targets that can also do damage to a single target. If I cast Fireball and it hits 1 target, it's still a spell that can hit multiple targets, just like Magic Missile. So this creates a unique interaction for Magic Missile with these damage rules, because spells like Fireball never hit the same target twice, but Magic Missile can. Magic Missile can hit the same target 3 times or more, so by these rules, we don't roll 3d4 plus 3 if a target is hit by 3 darts. What we do is we roll damage once, so we roll a d4 plus 1, and then we multiply it by 3. And so if we aren't doing anything to take advantage of this, in the long run, it averages out. Though for a single casting of this spell, it means your damage will be a little more swingy, since you're only rolling 1 die, so you have a 50% chance of doing either maximum damage or minimum damage. But here's the trick. If we find features and traits that add to the damage roll, then we're multiplying it by the number of darts that hit the target. So features that were intended to increase damage once end up increasing it multiple times. So for example, and I think this is the best known example, but as we'll see, not the only example, with a single level dip in Hexblade Warlock, we get Hexblade's Curse, which can be applied to a target with a bonus action. Then we cast Magic Missile with our action, and we hit a target with 3 darts. Hexblade's Curse says we get a bonus to damage rolls against the cursed target equal to our proficiency bonus. Well, our damage roll is a d4 plus 1. So we add our proficiency bonus to that, then we multiply by the number of darts that hit that target. So, with a first level spell, 3 darts. So if our proficiency bonus is plus 2, that's adding plus 6 damage to a single target with 1 first level spell. And that might not sound too outrageous, but let's say our character is 17th level, and we cast Magic Missile with, say, an 8th level spell slot. Well, then it's 10 missiles, so we're multiplying the damage by 10. And our proficiency bonus is now plus 6, so 6 times 10, 60 extra damage. A magic missile spell cast at 8th level would normally inflict an average damage of 35, but Hexblade's Curse brings it up to 95. That is an increase of 171%. So let's say we cast Finger of Death instead. That's a 7th level spell. Well, we'd be talking about an average damage of 66 with a saving throw to take 33 points instead. Add Hexblade's Curse to that with a +6, and it becomes 72 damage or 36 on a successful save. But if I use that 7th level slot on Magic Missile, then it's 77 damage, no saving throw, and I don't need to be able to cast 7th level spells. I just need 7th level spell slots. But remember I said Hexblade's Curse wasn't the only example? Because if we take a single level dip in Hexblade, we're only getting an increase to the damage roll once. But what if we were to increase it multiple times? So that brings us to our second most well-known example, the Evocation School Wizard. At 10th level, you can add your Intelligence modifier to 1 damage roll of any Wizard Evocation spell you cast. Well, Magic Missile is Evocation. So let's say we have 10 levels in Evocation Wizard and a 1 level Hexblade dip. Well, we can use our bonus action to apply the Hexblade's Curse, and then we add both our proficiency bonus and our Intelligence modifier to the roll. Then we multiply by the number of darts. And at level 14, Evocation Wizards get Overchannel. This says when we cast a spell of 1st through 5th level that deals damage, we can deal maximum damage with that spell. So we cast a 5th level Magic Missile. And let's say we're 15th level and we have a +5 Intelligence modifier. So that would be 7 darts, and the average damage for Magic Missile would normally be 24.5. But with Overchannel, we don't roll the d4, it's automatically a 4. So that's 5 damage per missile. Plus 5 more from Hexblade's Curse, plus 5 more from Empowered Evocation, so now it's 15 damage per missile, times 7, 105 damage with a 5th level spell slot with no saving throw. That is more than quadruple the damage of a Magic Missile cast at that level without enhancements. Now I'm going to assume that a lot of viewers already know about these interactions, but what I get asked often is, what about other things that add to damage? They get multiplied too, right? And the answer is, some of them do, and some of them don't. And I'm going to show you how to tell if the damage is multiplied or not. So here's the Goblin Race, and Fury of the Small. It says, when you damage a creature with an attack or a spell, and the creature's size is larger than yours, you cause the attack or spell to deal extra damage to the creature. The extra damage equals your proficiency bonus. So does this damage bonus multiply? No, actually it doesn't. So why doesn't this one work? Because it's not adding to a damage roll, it's adding to the damage. The way this is worded, we roll our damage as normal, and then we add this bonus. But the way Hexblade's Curse and Empowered Evocation are worded, they add the bonus to a damage roll. The damage roll is a d4 plus 1. Then we add any modifiers to the damage roll, and then we multiply. And then we add any modifiers to the damage. So Fury the Small can increase damage on spells, including Magic Missile, but it doesn't increase the damage of the Magic Missile damage roll. It just increases the total damage, so it doesn't help Magic Missile any more than it does any other spell dealing damage. So what we need to look for are modifiers to the damage roll. So here's the Draconic Bloodline Sorcerer and Elemental Affinity. Starting at 6th level, when you cast a spell that deals damage of the type associated with your Draconic Ancestry, you can add your Charisma modifier to 1 damage roll of the spell. Damage roll. We're golden. But there is a hiccup. It has to be the damage of the type associated with our Draconic Ancestry. And we can choose acid, lightning, fire, poison, or cold damage, but not force damage. But this is a hiccup, not a dead end. Because the next question is, can we change the damage type of Magic Missile to any of these damage types with Transmuted Spell Metamagic? No, we can't, because Force isn't one of the damage types on the list. But what about the Order of Scribes Wizard? It says we can replace the damage type of a spell with a type that appears in another spell in our spellbook of the same level. So if we say have Burning Hands in our spellbook, we could change the damage type of a 1st level Magic Missile to fire damage. And Draconic Sorcery doesn't say the spell has to be a sorcerer's spell, so we can add the modifier to a wizard spell, such as Magic Missile changed to fire damage. So if we were to make, say, a Scribes Wizard with Magic Missile, that we could change to fire damage, and then we were to multi-class with Draconic Sorcerer, we could add that feature, and if we dipped Hexblade, we could add that feature as well. But there is a big limitation to this build. If you want to upcast Magic Missile, you would need a spell mentioning the appropriate damage type of the modified spell level in your spellbook. So if you're just dipping 2 levels in Scribes Wizard, you're limited to altering first level magic missiles. Okay, so what about a Bard's Magical Inspiration? This is the optional feature for Bards from Tasha's. It says if a creature has a Bardic Inspiration die from you and casts a spell that restores hit points or deals damage, the creature can roll that die and choose a target affected by the spell. Add the number rolled as bonus to the hit points regained or the damage dealt. So, if I have done my job here, you should be able to tell for yourself. Yeah, it doesn't say it adds to the damage roll. It adds to the damage, so it's not multiplied. Okay, so what about the Artillerist Artificer's Arcane Firearm? It says you can use the Arcane Firearm as a spellcasting focus for your Artificer spells, and when you cast an Artificer spell through the Firearm, roll a d8, and you can add a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls equal to the number rolled. Celebration time? Nope. Magic Missile isn't an Artificer spell, and Arcane Firearm only applies to Artificer spells. Now, you can make Magic Missile an Artificer spell through the Armorer subclass, but if you're an Armorer, then you aren't an Artillerist. I even did a quick search through the Dragon-marked races in Eberron and the weird Ravnica backgrounds, which both add extra spells to your character that are oddly specifically treated as class spells for your class, but I didn't see any that added Magic Missile. Feats that add spells, by the way, are not added to your class spell list. Now, one way to get Magic Missile on your class spell list is Magical Secrets. It says the chosen spells count as Bard spells for you. And we do have a Bard subclass that can add to damage rolls of spells, and that's the College of Spirits. It says starting at 6th level, when you cast a Bard spell that deals damage or restores hit points through the spiritual focus, roll a d6, and you can add a bonus to 1 damage or healing roll. So, bingo! Nope. The killer is right here. You have to cast a Bard spell through the spiritual focus, which is a spellcasting focus. And you can only cast spells with a material component through a spellcasting focus. And Magic Missile doesn't have a material component. Now, is there a way to add a material component? Yeah. Every single Artificer spell has a material component, whether it's listed in the spell description or not. It's added in. But if it's an Artificer spell, then it's not a Bard spell. And we can't select the Armor Artificer's Magic Missile with Magical Secrets because Magic Missile is added to the base Artillery spell list through a feature for the Armorer only. It's not an Artificer spell. Now, we could do this all day, but I have told you the key. A feature must add to the damage roll to be multiplied, not just to the damage. And if it only adds a bonus to that class's spells, then Magic Missile needs to be a spell for that class. And if it doesn't add to force damage, Scribes could work, but it's not as easy as a 2-level dip, and you're good with Magic Missile cast at any level. One thing that does work, though, is casting twice. So you can't cast Magic Missile twice using Quicken Spell because the bonus action spellcasting rule doesn't allow it. You can, however, cast Magic Missile twice on your turn using Action Surge. So if you really want to make a Magic Missile build for your next character, this is what I figure is probably your best build. No race I can find adds damage to your spell roll, so pick the race you like. Max out your intelligence and start with a charisma of 13 for multiclassing. With your first level, take a Hexblade dip. This gives you good armor and Hexblade's curse. Then go Wizard for 10 levels with the Evocation subclass, and your Magic Missile build is firing. So Hexblade's curse plus Magic Missile from levels 2 through 10. Then once Empowered Evocation comes online, Magic Missile becomes deadly. Then, go to Fighter for 2 levels for Action Surge. Now you can bonus action Hexblade's Curse, upcast Magic Missile, Action Surge, and upcast Magic Missile a second time. Then, you go back to Wizard for the rest of your career, and when you are a 20th level character, you will have 9th level spell slots, Hexblade's Curse, Empowered Evocation, Overchannel, and Action Surge. So your turn would look like this. Hexblade's Curse is a bonus action. 9th level Magic Missile. Action Surge, 8th level Magic Missile. On your next turn, 5th level with Overchannel. On round 1, that's 21 missiles, and each do a d4 plus 1, plus 6 from Hexblade's Curse, plus 5 from Empowered Evocation. That's 14.5 average damage per missile, times 21. That is 305 damage with no saving throw, no attack roll, no legendary resistance. On round 2, add another 7 missiles with 16 damage each for 112 more. And this build will be okay beyond this obvious focus, so you definitely don't need to be using Magic Missile all the time. You are a pretty good character without it right from level 1. So what are the downsides of focusing on Magic Missile? Well, the shield spell says specifically it can be triggered by the Magic Missile spell, and then you take no damage from that spell. Now, you can counterspell a shield, and they can't counterspell you back because they just use their reaction on the shield spell. I mean, unless they have multiple reactions, which some creatures do, or there's other creatures with counterspell in the battle. So the shield spell can be a concern. Now, force immunity is rare, I mean very rare, but it is still a thing. The trick won't work on a Helmed Horror, and there's the Brooch's shielding. It just gives immunity to the Magic Missile spell, and you can't counterspell that. But, speaking of magic items, I should mention the Wand of Magic Missiles. This is an uncommon item, meaning a lot of foolish DMs will let you buy it or pick it or craft it at pretty low levels. And Hexblade's Curse works with it, and it allows you to upcast Magic Missile up to 7th level. Though, to be safe, you should limit yourself to 6th level. So your 5th level character uses Hexblade's Curse and casts a 6th level Magic Missile for 52 damage, no to hit, no saving throw, no spell slots expended. Then it recovers a d6 plus 1 expended charges on the next day. So that's how the trick works, that's how you figure out what applies to it, and that's my guide to Magic Missile. And if you have any additional tricks to enhance this spell, share them in the comments below. Otherwise, until next time, I am going to sit back, relax, and have some fun. D&D is for everyone. Thanks everybody, I'll talk to you soon.